Hey there. I wanted to do a short video for you about what it is exactly that I do. If you were to be a part of my total transformation program, what would that look like? Well, the first thing, and it sounds simple, but it's really not because we don't often do it, is that you would really define what your goal is. Not just like, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to feel better in my body, or I want to quit eating sugar, but really specific. What is your goal? How do you want to feel in your body? How do you want your relationship to be with food? When somebody brings out a bag of cookies, how do you want to feel? How do you want to think? When you look in the mirror, how do you want to feel and think? When you get dressed in the morning, when you fall into bed at night, how do you want your health and your body and the way you eat and drink and treat yourself? What do you want it to look like for the rest of your life? And we specifically go into like in the next 6 months, in the next year, in 5 years. We don't actually have to figure out the rest of our lives. That part can be a little more vague. And then the next part that we figure out is why. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to feel and think all those things? What is your current feeling in your body? What do you think when you look in the mirror now? What do you think when you get dressed now? How does it feel? How does it feel when you're around cookies or chips or pizza? What's your relationship with food like? Do you have a really amazing relationship? Why do you want that to change? How is it going to affect you and the rest of your life? Your relationships, your intimate relationships, how you age, whether you become what kind of grandparent you become, who you are in business, how you show up in the world, how much confidence you have. What is the deeper why than I just want to feel better or I just want to look better? Because those whys are going to be your fuel for the rest of your life and for this program. And when you're wavering, which will happen to everyone, you will continually come back to your whys. Why am I doing this in the first place? And then the next part is really figuring out the steps of my program. And I integrate, because of my nutrition background, I integrate the science of how your body works, what it needs as it ages. We talk about perimenopause and menopause, exercise, sleep, sunlight, nutrients, supplements, food, and of everything in between. There is nothing that we don't talk about. And I help you create a plan for yourself. I provide you with macronutrients, carbohydrate, fat, and protein amounts that are going to help your body look and feel the way you want it to. And then I teach you how to plan your food, how to plan your meals, how to plan your grocery lists, your shopping lists, how to prep if that's what you want, how to eat out at a restaurant, what to do at parties, how to eat on vacation. The mindset that's required in order to make choices that are going to get you to your goal and do it in a way where you feel empowered and fulfilled and not starving. I don't ever want my clients to feel like they're starving. That is not required at all. And then the next part is practicing uncovering the subconscious beliefs and thoughts that are happening all the time under the surface that are driving our actions. When you eat cookies that you didn't plan on eating and you feel bad afterwards, and then you say, screw it, I'm just going to finish the bag. We often put the responsibility of that choice on the cookie, but it doesn't have anything to do with what you ate, that you kept eating and kept continually having cookies, or you said screw it and ate junk the next day and said screw it and ate junk the next day. It's never, ever, ever the food. It's always your thoughts about the food and about yourself. And the feeling that you have of disappointment or letting yourself down or feeling like this is never going to work, feeling defeated, that this is hopeless, those thoughts and feelings are what drive you to then say, screw it. And I will teach you how to uncover all of those subconscious patterns so that they're no longer driving your actions anymore. And this is life-changing because this tool you can use in every area of your life, in your relationships, in your business, in your life, everywhere. And then the other huge part of my program is purpose and passion and pleasure. If you are used to feeling better and making joy and excitement come from food and drinking, like, ooh, let's go get donuts. Ooh, let's get an ice cream. Oh, let's have cocktails. Ooh, some chips and guacamole would be really exciting. Oh, let's order pizza tonight. What do you want to get from DoorDash? That's all pleasure and excitement that we're creating in our lives that's coming from food that isn't serving you in the long run. And so we've got to find pleasure and purpose and passion elsewhere. We've got to. And part of that is figuring out sometimes what you even love. Because for many of us, if we've been in college or raising kids or building a business, we have gotten lost in the process. And maybe what we love has just changed. Maybe it's just not the same as it used to be. And I often like to go back and think, like, what did I love when I was a kid? I used to sing all over the place. I was constantly blasting music and singing and dancing. And I realized at a certain point in my life, I don't do that anymore. What's up with that? I just hadn't prioritized pleasure. I hadn't made time for it. And through that pleasure really comes your purpose. What lights you up is what moves you through the world. And when you are lit up, when that brain is getting all this dopamine from the pleasure in your world, you don't care about food and alcohol as much. You just don't. It's like, you don't want donuts when you're getting a massage, right? Because there's so much pleasure in the experience. If you were on a yacht in the middle of the Caribbean, you wouldn't be like down eating a bag of Doritos. You would be just sitting on the deck in the sun, just soaking up the pleasure. And we're not going to have yachts and massages in our everyday life, so we have to weave in the pleasure of who we are and what lights us up. For me, beauty and aesthetic is something that just lights me up. So I wear rings or earrings or shoes with very high heels that make me feel just lit up with joy, just sitting in my living room on a work morning. I have immense pleasure from that, those tiny little things. I have pleasure from the mugs that I choose, the art that I put on my walls. These are things that I know light me up and are going to hold me as I move through the day and fill me up as I move through the day. So I'm not looking for external things to fill me up. That's a huge, huge part. The other thing that we do that's really big is when we check in with ourselves and learn these subconscious thoughts and feelings that we're having, how do we do that with curiosity and compassion and not with judgment? Like, oh, why did you eat that again? You're never going to do this. You have no self-control. Hold on. With compassion. Why do you feel that way? Is that really true that you have no self-control? Because I'm pretty sure you just had 4 cookies and then you put the bag back. I'm pretty sure you don't eat cookies all day long. I'm pretty sure that you can absolutely do this. Just checking in with what's actually true. and noticing that the subconscious thoughts are usually the ones that are the most judgmental, and they're on repeat in our brain. And when we unearth them, we need to have so much compassion and care for ourselves. Just like you would a little kid saying, I'm just so afraid, or I'm just so scared. Nobody at school likes me. They were mean to me. Just the amount of compassion that you would have for that small child, the amount of you're okay, you're just human, nothing's gone wrong. That's what we learned and help cultivate in you. Because the more compassion we can have for ourselves, the less we say screw it, and the faster we get right back to living the life that we want. The next thing that's really important, other than curiosity and compassion, is learning the skill of evaluating and doing things differently. So if we go back and say, okay, what was going on when you dove into that bag of cookies that you didn't plan on diving into? What was happening for you? What was happening for you that morning? What was happening for you the night before? Is there some emotion or stress or thought that you're suppressing and it's needing relief somewhere else? What could we do differently next time? Let's go back and rewind the movie and ask, what could you do differently next time? And again, with curiosity and compassion. Not, well, I should have done this, and I can't believe I did this, and that was so stupid, because that's what we human brains do. But by asking with compassion and curiosity, like, you know what? Actually, I hadn't eaten enough protein that day. Or you know what? I was really angry at my husband, and I didn't let him know. And so I was really pushing down a lot of emotion, and I needed some relief. Okay, next time I'm gonna really validate my experience. Next time I'm gonna make sure I eat enough food. Next time I'm gonna pack something with me. And then that's how you learn to literally become a different person each day that we work together. You gain a new awareness, a new skill, a new way of doing things, so that when you look back after 3 months or 4 months or 5 months or 6 months or a year, you think, man, am I doing it differently? That is, I am not the same person. I do not make the same choices. I do not beat myself up. I do not sit around and hem and haw after I step on the scale anymore. I have so much more neutrality around my body and around the scale and around food. And food is fuel for me now. And I eat to feel good, and I eat to feel strong. And I recognize when I'm tired and I need rest, and I recognize when I need some self-care, and I recognize when I don't put any fun or pleasure in my day. I always have my own back. And if I screw up, I recognize that I'm human, and I get right back to doing what fills me up. That is what we're learning. That is just a bit of an overview, and then in the sort of nuts and bolts of it, we meet every week for an hour. You have access to me in between our calls via email or Voxer or text. You will plan your food and track your food and pay attention to what you're eating and plan the things you want. So if you want a martini on Friday, you just plan it in advance. It's a process that you learn to provide for yourself ahead of time instead of react to an urge in the moment, which is usually not productive. And then we evaluate every week together. What can we do differently? What went well? How can we orient our brain to finding the positive every single week? Because sometimes the scale's not going to move. And sometimes you're going to go on vacation. And sometimes you're going to get sick. And sometimes you're going to have a horrible, stressful event. A lot can happen over 6 months. But there's never going to be a time in your life where everything is perfect. There's never going to be a time in your life where somebody's not bringing in food that's tempting to you that you don't want to eat. There's never going to be a time where you don't feel like not exercising. You know, over a 6-month period, life is going to life, and your brain is going to brain. And the more you acquire skill to deal with the truth and reality of the world, which is it's hard, food is everywhere, alcohol is everywhere, and our brain is wired to do things the fastest and easiest way possible with the least amount of discomfort and the most amount of pleasure. And in the modern world that we're in today, that sets us up for failure. It sets us up to sit on the couch in front of the TV, in front of a screen or video game, and just eat crappy food, have it delivered to our door, and not ever give up, not ever get up. It has us online shopping, drinking, smoking, doing drugs, whether they're street drugs or pharmaceutical drugs, to make ourselves feel better. That's just how we're wired. And if we want to achieve the things that we want to achieve, we have to actively train our brain to decide what we want ahead of time, and then to go after it even when it feels hard. And don't get me wrong, I do not want you to push yourself to do things that don't feel good, meaning they don't feel good for your future. But like, I don't want to lift weights ever. And I do it 5 days a week because that is the only way I'm going to keep my body strong and age strong, is some sort of resistance exercise. And I get the most bang for my buck in the gym because I can get in there, I can hit it for 30 minutes and be done. If I could do an Ashtanga yoga class also, but that would be like a whole 2-hour process getting there and the sweat and the whole thing. I'm all about efficiency. I will teach you how to do the absolute minimum possible to get the best result. That is my superpower. I am inherently lazy at heart, and I have super high standards at the same time. And it's a great combination. I want to make as much money as possible, working as little as possible, which is why I started investing in the stock market when I was 25. I want to have the best body that I possibly can with the least amount of exercise and fussiness in the kitchen. I mean, it's the truth. I want to keep things simple and easy, and you get to benefit from that skill of mine. If you have any questions about this, the other thing I want to say is I am not the coach who's like got a staff who's answering her DMs. I'm just not ever going to be that person. I love every single person that messages me about nutrition, not when they're messaging me about other stuff. But if you want to have a real conversation with me, if you have a real question, please ask it. Please engage. I am so happy to talk to you and help you as much as I possibly can. If there's something you'd like me to talk about on social media or in my emails or on YouTube channel, then please ask. Don't just sit and suffer. Ask for help. And even if you can't do my private coaching, that doesn't mean that there is not a way that I can't help you, that I can help you. And you can tell that I'm still a little tired. It's kind of morning time and I'm having my tea. So please message me, sign up for emails, follow me. I'm trying to give as much free information and advice as possible. And I really hope to meet you one day soon.